Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, gaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor in chief. So, welcome aboard. Tonight is Monday, November 14th, 2022. This is live stream 850. Yowza. 850 live shows. Plus, I think there's two streams that I tested out that I don't really consider episodes. So, there is that. So if you're joining me for the first time, let me point out, super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then we will normally take a peek at a game. Every once in a while, I'll do a live review, but for the most part here on the Dispatch, we take first looks and page through various different tabletop gaming products. Tonight, I've got a double feature. That's right. I'm going to be taking a look at two, count them, two of the Epic Encounters line from Steamforged Games, I should say. They are 4-5e D&D. And we're going to take a look at, first off, Island of the Crab Archon. So it's got minis. It's got a bit of an encounter, adventure. I think it's more like an in-depth encounter, but the big selling point are the miniatures. So we are going to be checking that out. Then we've got Cove of the Dragon Turtle, which has a gigantic, does it say gigantic or oh no, I'm sorry. It says gargantuan sized miniature in this one. So we're going to take a look at both of these, take a kind of dive in, see what this Epic Encounters line is all about. But I do want to mention, if you're tuning in to get a first look at these two Epic Encounters, keep in mind we tackled the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it'll probably be about 35 minutes or so before I jump on in. So if you're watching live, just kick back, relax, put your feet up, take it easy. You probably had a long weekend, a long, exhausting weekend. I know I did with my Bears game yesterday. Anyway, but if you are watching 30 minutes or more after the stream ends, then you can skip ahead. There are timestamps, they are in the show notes section, or depending on the device you happen to be watching this on, might actually be right there in the timeline on your screen. So you can jump ahead that way as well. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel here on YouTube, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the channel. Plus, in fact, I've got a couple of Paizo reviews from Sammy Yuhas that are going up this week as well. So, of course, they won't be, here on the channel. Be pretty tough to do that. Lastly, because this is a live stream, that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, If you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Also, want to point out that you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. First out the gate is one of our chat moderators. Yes, the Motor City madman himself. Damn your lions. It was an expensive game yesterday afternoon. It's hard to say last night. No, I did okay on last night's game. The Happy War Gamer is with us. Kevin R. Smith, Stray Kismet, Christopher Rush, Kathy Evans, Coco B is in the house, saying that they were busy looking up Fraggle Rock memes when they realized that the stream had started. Don't let me keep you from the Fraggle Rock memes. Come on. I mean, it's Fraggle Rock. You know, take a look at this show later. I think I've said hello to everybody. So sweet. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's dive on into the tabletop gaming news because later this month, 25th Century Games is going to release Gartenbau. Here's what I know. Gartenbau is a 2 to 4 player game in which players place and lay tiles in a tableau to meet the growing requirements of drafted flower tiles. A dual track rondelle combined with 3 layers of tile laying are at the core of this beautiful game. Take on the role of gardener, seeking to wield your green thumb to grow a well balanced, mature garden before the growing season ends. You will sow seeds and grow a variety of plants to fill out your garden. In addition, if you meet the complex growing condition of your flowers, you'll earn prestige points for your horticultural achievements. The player who earns the most prestige at the end of the game is crowned the Master Gardener. See, now, if this was a fishing game, you'd be you know where I'm going. Gartenbau is set in the late 19th century, and all of the artwork used in this game is vintage from that era. This game is dedicated to all the unknown artists who created wonderful works for various seed and flower catalogs during that period, leaving their mark on a beautiful era of garden art. Gartenbau is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in around 30 to 60 minutes. Going to carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it arrives on November 30th. I got to say, the artwork is pretty impressive with this. It's got a very nice, very pleasing look to it. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of official images from 25th Century Games for me to share with you that really shows the visual pop of the game layout. But I did encounter it from some other folks who cover the hobby, especially photography wise. So very, very nicely presented, I must say. And for some strange reason, it just seems that games about gardening and flowers and, you know, just happen to be a thing right now. We were talking about some games last week. We took a look at Verdant from AEG. So yes, it's kind of a thing. So, Madman says they got to see the Bills game after the Lions actually won. Yes, over the Bears, or as the Madman says, the Bears. Which the funny thing is, no one in Chicago ever referred to the Bears as the Bears. So, Coco B said their Bombers have made it to the Grey Cup Championship. Very nice. I know what the Grey Cup is, too. Moving right along. Currently up on the GMT Games P500 pre-order list is By Swords and Bayonets. Here's the scoop. By Swords and Bayonets is a 2-player regimental level war game, and the ninth installment in the award winning Great Battles of the American Civil War series. It focuses on smaller scale battles of the American Civil War and will serve as an ideal introduction for players new to the series. By reducing the size of contending forces, players can more easily learn the detailed layered rules and subsystems of the great battles of the American Civil War series without fear of being overwhelmed by the size of the battles themselves. Some of the highlights: it features four small scale Civil War battles, each on its own half size, 22-inch by 17-inch map. Forces on both sides are limited to one division maximum. There are fewer than 50 combat units on the map per side for each battle. And it is fully supported by the Great Battles of the American Civil War rule system. And one of the battles, the Rappahannock scenario, has a one turn introductory scenario for it as well to learn the rules. Four battles included are Big Bethel, June 10th, 1861. Shortly after the onset of hostilities at Fort Sumter, the Union sought to quickly subdue the rebellion. Major General Benjamin Butler was dispatched to Fort Monroe at the tip of the Virginia Peninsula with a force of mostly untested volunteers and an eye towards taking Yorktown. Yes, Major General Benjamin Spoons Butler. You have to, be a little bit of a American Civil War buff to understand that reference. There's also Mill Springs, January 19th, 1862, a battle that helped seal the fate of both Kentucky and Eastern Tennessee. Local scions, Major General George B. Crittenden and Felix Zollicoffer, sought to exert control of the strategic Cumberland Gap through the war's first winter and to buttress a line of forces spanning both strategic states that were still tenuously held by the Union. Then there's New Bern, North Carolina, March 14th, 1862. In a strategic bid to keep the pressure up in the South Atlantic rebel states and to keep reinforcements from Richmond, then the subject of a major operation on the Virginia Peninsula. Yes, the Peninsula Campaign. Major General Ambrose Burnside, where we get sideburns from, is sent on an amphibious expedition of his own. And then there's Rappahannock Station, November 7th, 1863. In the aftermath of the pivotal Battle of Gettysburg in July 1863, Robert E. Lee conducts a masterful retreat into Virginia, evading the pursuing forces of Union Major General George Meade. By Swords and Bayonets is for 2 players, ages 14 and up. These scenarios are going to vary in length, but I would expect that all of them can be finished in just a few hours. And you can reserve a copy for a pre-order price of $38. A pretty sweet price, with an eventual MSRP of $55. So this is out there right now. It is up on the P500 for GMT Games. And yes, I am a kind of a Civil War buff. I think I have mentioned previously on the show when I was about 14. No, I take that back. I was 15 because my dad actually let me drive a few times because I had my permit. My dad and I went on a tour of Civil War battlefields. So we went to Antietam and Manassas and, let's see. Oh, Gettysburg, obviously. Oh, we also were at Chickamauga. I mean, I think all in all, we went to like 8 different battlefields. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. Madman says they really love the historical nature of these games, but the sheer number of tokens seems intimidating. They're called chits and counters, man. Gee willikers. It should just be called, well, normally we would just call them counters. And if there was something that we had to like pull from a cup, that's a chit, even though it looks just like a counter. So Madman says that's what's kept them from going all in on games like Mill Springs. Let's see, off the top of my head, what would I recommend? Ah, damn, it's out of print. Especially if you enjoyed the Civil War. There is, I'm trying to remember the title of it. It was from GDW, House Divided. That was it. House Divided, and it was excellent. And it was very few counters. It was pretty, I would say, low intensity as far as the rules as well. Trey Kismet points out they used to do Civil War reenactments as a kid. Wow, that's pretty cool. One thing that I find very bizarre, I know I'm going off on a little tangent. I find very strange about like Civil War reenactors, especially Confederates. I'm amazed by how many are overweight. It's kind of like, um, you do realize that, you are on like the verge of starvation, right? That's why the movie Gettysburg, which I think is actually a very good movie, which many people don't realize was actually made for TV for TNT, and Ted Turner's actually in it for like 10 seconds. He gets blown away during Pickett's charge. Pickett's run? The hell am I thinking? Pickett's charge. Anyway, they used a lot of Civil War reenactors in it, and it was so funny because it's like there's a few scenes where, especially the rebels, are like, wow, those guys are pretty damn fat. It's like, no, 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 no. It's like that would not have been the case. All right. Bruno Azevedo is with us, as is Mr. Eddie T saying howdy. And if Mr. Eddie T saying howdy, then I would take a guess that we've got Sarah D floating around. Happy Wargamer says Worthington Games have some Civil War games which are low number of units and about 8 pages of rules. Yes, but unfortunately, Worthington Games are very, very pricey. I mean, they're good. I have reviewed some Worthington games. Man, those prices are like, whoa, like $75. And it's like, if this was from just like a game publisher, you're talking about probably like a $35, $40 game tops. So yes, Sarah D is lurking. 245 Trioxin and Russell Higgins are with us in chat as well. All right, on to the next news piece. Now available from Bundle of Holding is another Traveler bundle. Save you some money. I talked about this a little bit last week about the core book and adventures that are available. Well, I've got the dope on another offer. It is the Traveler Great Rift Bundle. Careful, Traveler. This Traveler Great Rift Bundle is just one of 2 all-new offers in progress, featuring the 2nd edition Traveler Tabletop role-playing game line from Mongoose Publishing. This offer brings you 2 complete campaign sets and many adventures that send your player characters into very deep space on a decades-long trek. Get it, the trek part? To strange new worlds where no traveler has gone before. It reminds me of something else out there. I just can't put my finger on what it would be. For just $9.95, you get both complete sets in the starter collection, which have a retail value of $80 as DRM-free PDFs. The Great Rift is a 402-page setting guide about the incomprehensibly large void that divides the Third Imperium Galactic Empire. Well, if you can't comprehend it, how can it be in the book? Then we've got Deep Night Revelation, which is a 320-page campaign that covers every stage of a 500 crew starship's 10-year journey across the rift mouth to Terminus Point, and then, everybody hopes, back home to charted space. And if you pay more than the threshold price of $35.48, which may have changed by a penny or two, you'll level up and also get our entire bonus collection with 9 more source books and adventures worth an additional $198 that enhance your voyage across the rift, including 6 Deep Night source books, Rift's Edge Transit, The Near Side of Yonder, The Crossing, The Far Side of Nowhere, Void Shore and Expeditions, and 3 Great Rift adventures, Islands in the Rift, Deep Night Endeavor, and Flatlined. Of course, don't forget, there is also the core book that is currently being offered with some adventures as a humble bundle, or I should say bundle of holding. I say humble bundle. Don't know. I need a sip. My gosh. Ah, there we go. These savings are going to run for both bundles of holding through November 28th. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to the pandemic related charity. Yes, you guessed it. Direct Relief. Perkins Dearborn is with us in chat and some discussion of the character creation process and your characters dying in character creation. So I have to point out, and we've talked about, I mean, you can have characters die in character creation in Mongoose Traveler 2. It's kind of optional. But I know it's one of the things that people talk about all the time with original Traveler from the 80s is, oh yeah, oh, you'd go through all this process of rolling up a character and then the character, he dies or she dies. Yeah, okay, it happened, but it wasn't like something that happened a lot. It's a bit of a trope that gets thrown out there for Traveler because, yeah, like I said, it could happen. And a lot of times your character died during the character creation process because you were pushing your luck. So, all right. But I got to say, this is a fantastic deal. I mean, for less than $40. Now, granted, of course, it's PDFs, but for less than $40, you're looking at like $275 worth of PDFs. And as we've said before, Mongoose Traveler is not an inexpensive role playing game to engage in. So, with both of these bundles for a grand total of about, I'd say, what, $78 or so, you could get years and years of gaming content. So, if you got any interest whatsoever in Traveler, check these out. Perkins says they tried using GURPS with villains and vigilantes with Traveler world creation. Yikes. Troy Kismet says they have a t-shirt, unless you die in character creation, you haven't lived. Nice. One other aspect I should say that I really dig about this edition of Traveler is plenty of artwork, and the artwork's cool. It's good artwork. Those of you who are old enough and remember original Traveler, you were hard pressed to find any artwork at all in the adventures and in the books. Viper Dave is with us in chat. Sweet. Very cool. Welcome aboard. Russell Higgins is asking about intermission. No, we haven't gotten intermission yet. Perkins asked if they have any virtual tabletop assets for Traveler. Oh, I would say most definitely. I'm not sure if they're part of this bundle though. So, or either bundle, I should say. Moving right along. Stargrave, her Hope Eternal See, actually have these out of order. That's why I'm kind of like stumbling along because I'm like, damn it, I forgot to swap the order of the Stargrave Hope Eternal is now available in print and PDF from Osprey Games. Here's the skinny. Take on the pirate fleets in this campaign for Stargrave, featuring full rules for playing the game solo or cooperatively. Since the end of the last war, the great pirate fleets have roamed the ruins of the galaxy, pillaging, extorting, and enslaving. No one has had the power to stand against them, and the desperate few who have tried have been quickly and brutally crushed. However, when the independent crews are hired for a simple hostage rescue, it leads to a dangerous opportunity to strike a blow against tyranny. Two of the largest and most vicious pirate fleets are meeting for a parley near the ruins of an ancient research station, one that once experimented with supernova level events. If the crews can locate the station, slip past the pirates, and infiltrate the facility, it might be possible to release such an event just as the fleets have gathered. Hope Eternal is a solo and cooperative expansion for Stargrave, along with full rules for playing the game in this new style. The book contains an intricate campaign of connected scenarios. Whether you brave the perils of the campaign alone or enlist the aid of other independent crews, this is your chance to bring back a little hope to the ravaged galaxy. The 96-page hardcover is available right now for an MSRP of $30, or you can grab the PDF over at Drive-Thru RPG for $24. Got to admit, not such a great deal on the PDF. So you only save $6, but that is an Osprey Games thing. So all their games are like that. So it's always like, oh, it's $30 for the hardcover. And it's weird because it's almost like doesn't matter how many pages are in it. It's $30. So it could be 250 pages. It's $30. So Russell says they love Stargrave. Frostgrave and Stargrave are cool. They're cool systems. They're easy to get into. They're nice skirmish level miniatures games. Nobody's trying to sell you a bunch of miniatures because Osprey Games doesn't sell miniatures. So it's not like, say, a Games Workshop skirmish level miniatures game where it's like, yeah, well, we came up with the rules so we could sell these minis. So, but this is now out in print and PDF. My final news piece, also available in print and PDF, is Mythic Polynesia. And here's the latest from the design mechanism. Kayarana, may health be with you. This, the traditional greeting of the ocean people, can be heard throughout a region covering a vast triangle with sides measuring over 10,000 kilometers. At the three corners of this triangle lie the Hawaiian archipelago in the north, the continental islands of Aotearoa in the south, and the mysterious Rupanui in the far east. Yeah, I know I'm completely mispronouncing those, but this is also mythical. So these aren't like real. They're like based on real places. Mythic Polynesia describes the people and cultures of the Great Ocean and is a complete guide to role playing in this vast area of myth and legend, examining the traditions, myths, gods, spirits, and creatures of the Great Ocean. The Polynesian islands are brought alive and presented through the Mithras game system. The book includes an exhaustive overview of ocean life, the tribes, their magic, and their complex history and politics. A section on staging Polynesian campaigns offers game masters copious guidance on creating compelling Mythic Polynesia adventures at the gaming table. This is part of the Mythic Earth range of source books for Mithras and is not a standalone game. You either need the Mithras core rules or the Mithras imperative rule set to be able to play. This 244-page hardcover can be had for $45.99, the softcover for $35.99, or to get the PDF alone, all at Drive-Thru RPG. You can score the PDF for $22.99. Nice. I always hear really good things about Mithras, which is Ruin, which Ruin Quest. What is with me today? I'm so shaken up over football yesterday because I got beat the hell up. It's like, damn. Still got the shakes from it. Oh my God. So Mithras was RuneQuest. It's a D100 system. It's essentially RuneQuest, but the licensing deal or something like that broke down. That's why, because if I remember correctly, and I could be a little off here, because I'm not overly familiar with the design mechanism. I thought they produced, I thought it was like Hero Quest or something along those lines. And they no longer, had a license to do that. So they went with Mithras. Russell Higgins says Naked Rune Quest. Perkins says suffering from shell shock. Russell's pointing out maybe it's rented lips. No, I own these lips. Thank you very much. Russell says Hope Eternal is worth the price tag. Sweet. Very cool. I was not implying that Osprey Games aren't worth picking up. I mean, I've reviewed quite a few of their, especially role-playing games. And outside of one, Romance of the Nine Kingdoms. No, it was not Romance of the Nine Kingdoms. It's the Arthurian one. It's Romance of something. And it was just too much of a, just almost copy paste 5e. So I didn't really care for that one too much. But all the rest, there you go. Thank you, Mr. EDT. Romance of the Perilous Lands. Russell says they got the $24 PDF as opposed to the $30 soft cover. Oh, so it is a soft cover. Okay. Cool. That is it for tonight's news. Yes. So before we jump on into the first looks at the two Epic Encounters releases, did want to mention I'd gotten an email earlier today, or I should say it was early yesterday, and it was offering to sell me the contact information for all of the attendees of PAX Unplugged 2022. Now, I'll be honest, I do know that there are conventions and things like that. And I'm not just talking gaming. I'm talking of every sort. Like if you went to the Oracle convention, where they actually provide your contact information to people who buy it. I mean, it's done. It happens. And it's actually not spelled out in the disclaimer, all that long list of details that you would completely ignore when you're like, yes, I'm buying my badge. Thank you. But it wasn't that. It didn't come from PAX. It came from somebody at a Gmail account. And I was like, what? So of course I reached out to PAX and I hadn't heard anything back. So earlier today, it was this morning, I floated it out there on Twitter. And I just said, hey, just want to let people know that if you're going to PAX Unplugged, somebody contacted me offering to sell all the contact information, emails basically, of the attendees. So I wasn't sure if this was like, because you see it all the time, a disgruntled former employee trying to make some bucks or what. I had no idea. Well, it turns out, I guess, this is something that I guess like exhibitors and publishers and PAX themselves gets contacted. So PAX gets contacted to see if PAX wants to buy the contact information of all the attendees. So I was like, oh, okay. All right. I was like, I didn't know. I didn't bring up the fact that I had tried to contact PAX and they didn't say anything. So, but yeah, it was kind of weird. So I guess the scammer thought I was a retailer of something, or that I'm selling something. I was like, yeah, okay. All right. Anyway, so I just thought that was kind of weird. So tonight, we're going to take a look at 2 epic encounters in just a couple of moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Traveling down a dusty road, going to meet my friends, heading for the movies right around the bend. Looking for a good time, looking for what's real, knowing that a good time is the thing that's real. It's the real thing. Coke. Intermission is the time, refreshments and my friends, knowing all along that's where it all begins. Looking for a good time, looking for what's real, knowing that a good time is the thing that's real. It's the thing that's real. Especially when it's Coca-Cola. It's the real thing. Yes, Coke is the good time real thing. It's the real thing.
Put your money in here and you get a cup of Wilkins coffee. I don't want any. Then push that button. How about a cup of Wilkins?
You know, the Leaning Tower of Pisa reminds me of Wilson's Certified Bacon.
Why does the Leaning Tower of Pisa remind you of Wilson's Certified Bacon?
Because nothing's leaner than Wilson's Certified. Leaner, get it?
No joke, folks. For a great breakfast, we lean toward the lean goodness of Wilson's Certified Bacon. This is the bacon to take to your frying pan.
How about this one? When is an oven like a delicious breakfast?
I don't know, when is an oven like a delicious breakfast?
When it's bacon.
It's a great bacon. Sugar-cured, hardwood smoked, fries sizzling crisp every time. Wilson's Certified Bacon. Now back to the Leaning Tower.
You know what happens when you fry Wilson's Certified Bacon?
I'm afraid to ask.
It becomes Wilson's Certified Bacon.
Help stamp out bad jokes. Buy Wilson's Certified Bacon.
Oh, the humanity in those commercials. Oh, all that death. Alrighty then. So tonight, I am going to take a peek inside the latest 2 epic encounters from Steamforged Games. So first off, we are going to be taking a look at Island of the Crab Archon. Carries an MSRP of $54.95. I believe it contains 17 miniatures. Then we're going to look at Cove of the Dragon Turtle, which carries an MSRP of $49.95. And that's the one that includes the gargantuan miniature. So we are going to be taking a peek at both of those. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Epic Encounters, Island of the Crab Archon. So I had to swap lenses because we are going to do some zooming in so we can get a closer look at the miniatures here. So we're going to see how well the autofocus holds up on this. I know when I'm showing off the minis, they'll probably be relatively tough. And I'll tell you what, let's get the shrink wrap off of this first. Get rid of some of that glare. Come on, you. There we go. Crab folk, the Carquinos. Any sailor worth his salt has learned to fear these cutthroat crustaceans. Still, some dismiss them as simple pirates. The briny depths are littered with the corpses of those who learned the truth. The Carquinos strike with the speed of the tides, slipping forth from the water for brutal slaughter, leaving behind a mound of severed heads and a rumor of death from the deeps. Inside this box is everything you need to run your own clash with the sharp-clawed sea raiders. Perfect for new and experienced players, Island of the Crab Archon is ready to play right away as part of a new or existing campaign. Many sailors have crossed swords with the Carquinos, but few survive to tell the tale. Will you fare any better? Danger, discovery, and adventure await. Russell Higgins says they dated the Crab Archon once. They're pretty sure. Christopher Rush says, crab people. All right. Do want to point out a few things. First off, the fine folks over at Steamforged Games were kind enough to provide me with these two epic encounters. But as always, no one affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. So it looks like we've got an ad for the Shrine of the Kobold Queen. That's kind of cool with a bunch of kobolds. And the Lair of the Red Dragon. So that looks like another one of those gargantuan-sized minis. Hall of the Orc King and Caverns of the Frost Giant. I actually seem to remember sharing news pieces about each of those. So we've got that. We've got a mat. So I will point out that this is the paper stock's not real thick. Not terrible. It looks like we do have a little bit of a treatment to the paper as well. So looks like this is dual-sided. So this is one area here. And another area here. So it looks like this is kind of a village. A couple of open areas. You can see right here. As well as right there. Of course, this is designed for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. I can say that. I can say the D&D part. Tell you what, let's zoom in a little bit. We'll get a better look at the encounter book. So this isn't a full-fledged adventure, but it is an encounter location as far as I understand. So keep in mind, give me some spoilers, but I am going to skip pages here as well. It says if you wanted to play lower levels, talking about making adjustments. It says these are divided into 3 tiers of play, making them as suitable for as many different player groups as possible. The smell of the sea, salt, decaying seaweed, ozone, an unmistakable scent. That is true. They carry it with them even when their raiding parties venture deep inland to search for riches. It oozes from them, a warning of sorts to their victims, Not that many recognize what the unexpected scent foretells, not before a sharp claw closes around their throat, decapitating them with a single inland snip. All right, so we get some information about the Carquinos. We're going to get some locations. Let's talk about that that map there. On the island. I think the auricular pool is the other side of the mat. And then we're going to get stat blocks. So we have a scuttler crab, a hunting shark. I don't think we've got miniatures for the hunting shark. Okay, so we got the Carquino's infantry, the Carquino's netter, not nutter. Christopher Rush points out, oh, I like this is scalable. I didn't know that. That's handy. With the Carquino's stalwart, the King's Guard, the Oracle, and the Archon, the big bad. So we have 7 sculpts with these miniatures as well. And then we get some credits here and the licensing. So showing us the miniatures and what each one represents if you don't want to look at the artwork. I think the artwork would probably be giving it away. All right. These are the minis. Pretty sweet. And gotta say, the tray. Oh, I was gonna say, oh, this fits really well. Well, it's because it's taped. All right, come on. Come on. Flaming Huron's with us in chat. Good to see you, Flaming Huron. Okay, let's get this other side here. All right, come on. It's usually a little bit easier if I kind of lift it, but I don't want to tear the plastic. Although I gotta say, the plastic is decent. A lot better than some miniatures trays I've seen. Not as flimsy. Okay. So I am going to zoom in as far as I can, and we're going to take a look at each of these miniatures. Let's start off with that one here. See what we've got. You know what? I am going to put this down. I think probably get, and yes, there are still little hairs from the former cats, Smokey and Pinky, who are unfortunately no longer with us, but who had to spend a bunch of time down here. Whereas the 2 cats we've got now don't. They stay upstairs. The only reason why the cats were down here is because Pinky had a problem with the box. Okay, so let's see what we get here with the autofocus. Kind of funny because it's like a little hard to line up to make sure, okay, so what are we looking at here? All right, this is a scuttler crab. Let's see if we can check out some of the detail here. This looks like this would paint up pretty nicely. Flaming Heron says, yeah, these will look better painted. Yes, they certainly would. So, but one thing that you find if like with pre-paints, and I'll admit, I mean, WizKids does a pretty nice job with their pre-paints, but they're not that great. They look like, WizKid figures. Okay, so this is one of the netters, and there are 6 of these. And there you go. That's pretty cool looking too. Perkins says, nice hands. Did a good job clipping those. Yeah, I don't like long fingernails. They're always very short. Okay, so that is a netter. We got a big one over here. I'm gonna pull out of that. This is the Oracle. So it seems like the Oracle looks like there's a big eel right there. Kind of looks like an eel. All right. So we've got that. Next up, we have, these are the infantry. These are just the standard infantry. So you figured this is $54.95 for this set, and you get 17 minis. That's actually a pretty decent deal. And then you throw in the fact that you've got an adventure, or at least a pretty fleshed out, lengthy encounter. So Russell Higgins says the Oracle is blessed with the moray eel. Flaming Heron says hand model jobs in my future. Highly doubt that. Yes, I do remember the episode of Seinfeld. So, okay, next up. So there's a trio of these, and this is the Stalwart, and this looks really cool. So, give you a better look here. See, it's funny because I'm so zoomed in, just a slight movement, just like pulls this like so far off center. So if I just move it a little bit, it's like, bam, it's like all the way over there. So not the easiest to keep these centered up. But yeah, that's a pretty cool looking brute sort of creature there. Perkins says you could use it as an Umber Hulk. Yeah, it does look a little bit like an Umber Hulk. So the set contains 3 of these. So we also have some other, we've got 2 more minis, which are singular. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. We've got 3 more miniatures. That are, actually, there's another sculpt in there too. So this is the King Guard, or King's Guard, I should say. Ironcaster has joined us in chat. Welcome aboard. Ironcaster points out you're paying about $2.50 per mini. That's worth it. Or if you want something unique like crab monsters, plus you get an adventure and a map. Yeah, that's what I was pretty much saying. Pretty damn good deal. Now we are going to look at the gargantuan. mini in the Cove of the Dragon Turtle in just a moment here. So there are 3 of these. And then finally, we've got the Archon itself. Ta-da! That's a pretty big one. Trey Kismet says they're pretty happy with the bundle of holding download. They've got the books, but it's nice to have something to zoom in on. So obviously, I believe Stray Kismet's talking about the Traveler bundle of holding, the 2 different Traveler bundles that are available, which are smashing deals right now. So once again, this is our big bad. This is the Archon. I could see this has pretty good deep cuts for painting. I mean, they're not like everything's not real super deep, but not too shabby. You know what? I'm going to give you an example of the size of this comparison. I've got a miniature. You may recall a few years ago, I was trying to teach my nephew Cameron miniature painting. So we were painting some stuff, and rather than start sinking a bunch of money in like Vallejo paints and things like that, just went to Walmart and picked up the like 89-cent acrylics, which aren't great, but still they're usable. So that's what I had painted this with. So this is pretty much, this isn't a 32 mil. It's closer probably to about a 28. So that gives you an idea of the scale of the Archon, and just the soldiers are pretty large as well. There we go. So the madman asks, is that a sawfish sword? Yeah, it looks, well, I can't tell. No, I don't think it's a fish. For a second, I thought it was a fish tail. But maybe, I don't know. I gotta be honest, I'm not overly familiar with what a sawfish is. Okay, so we've got the 17 miniatures. Put that back on top. Slip that back into the box as well. We have the mat, the dual sides. We got a little bit of an ad. And then we have the encounter booklet. This found 92 says Candygram for Mongo. Yep, little Blazing Saddles. I'm amazed that Blazing Saddles is on Netflix. Because honestly, actually, I put all this stuff into the box top. I mean, that is a film that would never be made today, ever. And I remember when I was in high school, my best friend Elliot Miller had that on VHS. And I kid you not, I have probably seen Blazing Saddles about 200 times. All right, so there we go. So that is, I got it moved a little too far out. There we go. So that is Island of the Crab Archon 4-5E from Steamforged Games. It is part of their Epic Encounters line. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Cove of the Dragon Turtle, which is a single gargantuan-sized miniature. This Found 92 says, cool goodies. Russell Hean says, "What exactly do you mean, Jeff?" I think they're being sarcastic about me mentioning that there'd be no way you could get away with making blazing saddles these days. So Russell Higgins says, "Oh, Eddie T said you paint pretty well." That was not, that's actually not finished. That was, I still was going to do a little bit more with it. And then my nephew was kind of, kind of got started painting stuff, then moved on to something else. And, you know how these kids are these days. All right. So this is the Cove of the Dragon Turtle. Whispers travel across the seas of a titanic beast that dwells in the depths, a snapping, snarling chaos that surges from beneath the waves to snatch its prey. Some speak of these monstrous predators, singing to one another with haunting, wordless elations, crooned over silent seas. Others of slow death, victims kept alive to be consumed limb by limb. Sailors give it many names. Old Grimteeth, the Living Island. No matter the name or the language it's spoken in, all sailors fear the dragon turtle. Nice. Playing here, it's his kids these days. Now get off my lawn. Yes, Stray Kismet says Mongo is but pawn in great game of life. All right, so we get that ad once again. So we're going to get the fold out locale. So this is the Cove. There we go. That appears to be the Cove there. And then flip this on over, and this is another area of the Cove. Doesn't look like the same thing. No, it's not. All right, so we've got that. Got some tokens of, amazingly enough, they are some of those crab folk, and then some snapping turtles, it looks like. Okay, so only one side on those. We've got our encounter booklet. So I might as well zoom in a little bit here. And I have to point out that the zoom ring on the Panasonic kit lens is not very smooth. So, all right. From afar, it almost, I should say, from afar, it looks almost like an island, a lumped mass bulging out of the sea. There's a patterning to it, enough to suggest the geometries of architecture, maybe. To the drowning sailor clinging to wreckage, it might seem like salvation until the island starts to move. The sea parts before its bulk, powering through the water. Then, from beneath the tumult of white surf, comes the vast jaws, lined with teeth like bastard swords. The presentiment of vast flippers churning the water into foam, then gone, vanished. The depths swallowing the island and the creature within it, as though it never disturbed the surface of the sea. All right, so we'll skip through a little bit of this. So it says most of the dragon turtle's time is spent swimming through the illimitable oceans, plunging ever deeper into the gray abysses below the waves, surfacing rarely to pursue prey. So some tactics, encounter aspects. We've got some locations, the dragon turtle's attack types, and it gets breakdown of what these attack types are. Cinematic moments, treasure, and then we get the stat block for the dragon. Oh, for a few different dragon turtles. Okay. Oh, look. Hey, these guys look familiar. And then we have the dragon turtle hatchling, which we do not have minis for. We have the tokens. And then some credits. And then the open game license. So there we've got that. And then we've got this big old monster here. So this is what Steamforged considers to be a gargantuan-sized miniature. At least the tape came off easier on that side. All right. So this is a big mini. That is for sure. Let's give you a bit of a look at it here. I'll tell you what, this was from Games Workshop. You'd be looking at, probably $150. So Russell Higgins says the treasure wants you to defeat the dragon turtle is the world's biggest bowl of turtle soup. Russell Higgins also points out they like their ocean water without foam, please. Kathy Evans says that is cool. So yes. So let's give this the scale, right? Here we go. Here's our barbarian again. There, that is the scale. That is how big this gargantuan sized miniature is. And this MSRP for the Cove of the Dragon Turtle is $49.95. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's get a closer look here. Give you a better peek at the dragon turtle. So you can see its maw. So Christopher Rush points out, oh, there's slots in the plastic for the cardboard tokens. I don't know. I didn't notice. I wasn't looking. So this is relatively hefty. I'd say it's at least 2 pounds. Yes. There you go. Christopher points out Gamera is a friend to children. And yes, I know in the US, everybody says Gamera, but the correct pronunciation is Gamera. So Russell says this is a 120 millimeter base, they're guessing. Yes, I do believe that is correct. It is a 120. So very, very nice. See, I share some of the detail underneath the dragon turtle here. So the only thing I would be curious about, and I don't want to break anything. Yeah, it looks like it doesn't appear as if you could remove the dragon turtle from the base here, because that would make it far, far easier to paint if that was the case. Now, you might be able to. I'm just not going to screw around with it, break something. Yeah. Jeff was doing this unboxing and first look, and he busted this miniature. It was funny. All right. So this is the dragon turtle from Cove of the Dragon Turtle. Now, let me see. Oh, you're talking about the slots here. I was like, I thought you were talking about slots on the base for you to put those little tokens, the little counters of the crab folk warriors at the hatchlings. All right. So that is the miniature. That is a mighty impressive miniature. And I've got to say that, all right, so how in the world did this close? That looks like this is the correct way. that it goes in this way, right? I mean, there's no other way, really. Oh, there we go. That's weird. All right, so we got the big miniature, the gargantuan miniature. Flaming Heron says, I assume the parts you can't paint as well, it's out of sight and out of mind. Yeah, but it's not completely out of sight. That's kind of the problem there, is that you can still see that. But I've painted miniatures. Remember, I pointed out before that I've painted 1/6 scale figures in that. So I'm used to having to deal with things that you can't get to. All right, so we've got the little ad there. We've got the encounter mat. We've got the tokens, and we've got the encounter booklet. And that's what we find in Epic Encounters Cove of the Dragon Turtle, which is from Steamforged Games. Once again, this carries an MSRP of $49.95. And that, for that size miniature, that's a pretty damn good deal. Really, really is. So big thank you to the fine folks over at Steamforged Games sending these along to take a look at. I would definitely be very interested in checking out more from this line. Steamforged Games does a lot of games. I've shared news pieces from them for quite a few years now, and most of their games have miniatures in some capacity. And of course, then we've got the Epic Encounters lineup as well. This is the first time I've seen anything from Steamforged, and I am very impressed with the quality of the miniatures. Really, really impressed. And price point, let's be very honest, 17 miniatures, $54.95. That was a pretty sweet deal. And we had some bigger minis there. And then $49.95 for the adventure encounter, as well as that gargantuan miniature. I say that's a pretty good deal as well. All righty. So that is going to be it for tonight's show. What's cooking this week? Well, on tomorrow's show, we're going to dive on into the latest supplement from Starfinder. Yes, that is right. It is Interstellar Species. We're going to be taking a peek at this. And then on Wednesday, we're going to take a look at the Brancalonia. I believe this is called the Macaroniacon, like the Necronomicon. So we're going to take a look at this. Of course, this is from Archon Games. And obviously, this is from Paizo Inc. So that's what's cooking this week. Depending on what happens, depends on what arrives maybe this week. There's some things, once again, I'm not sure. I'm not positive what's arriving. You know, I know Regency Cthulhu is in transit, so we're probably going to be taking a peek at that next week. I'd like to get into more of the Lex Arcana releases as well. Take a look at that. I did receive a package from Free League Publishing. Yes, another package. So there you go. Flaming Heron's talking about expecting Blade Runner. I don't know. But I did get the new edition of Into the Odd, as well as the Mythic Britain and Ireland books for Vossen. I shouldn't say books, book from Vossen. So we've got those. I expect Blade Runner will show up. I just don't know when. I don't know if it's on schedule or not. So Coco B was like laughing. I was going to write Blade Runner. I know. Remember, Free League just sends things and I don't know what they're sending. And I'll just shoot like an email to my contact to let her know when I, share reviews and first looks and things like that. But she never like reaches out to tell me, oh, hey, Jeff, this is what's coming. So, all righty then. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. Will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also inform you of when I share other videos, when I upload other standalone videos, which I've got lots of goodies on the horizon, including a look at the second expansion for Disney Sorcerer's Arena Alliance. I know it's like, that's a mouthful. So this is the Thrills and Chills, and it's got Jack Skellington. Gotta love that. Perkins Dearborn's like, game over, game over. Those are kind of funny little icons. I haven't seen those before. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. If you were hanging out watching live, much appreciated. Took part in chat. Thank you very much. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company, which helps, especially when I'm like just looking at something and like dead air, which does happen. Of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very kindly for taking time out of your busy life. Watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang YouTube channel. I'll be back tomorrow. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.